As a mark of respect, all 9 LV County Championship matches paused on Saturday to coincide with the funeral of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, alongside observing the 1-minute silence at 3 p.m. Cook would be the first to fall at the resumption. Robinson once again the man with the wicket, courtesy of a neat nab from Ben Brown shortly after the score passed 150. Carlson would push on though. He dragged his team closer to parity and possible consecutive centuries. Another boundary took his side to 200 runs and the value of their partnership to 50. Glamorgan showing some defiance, and their deficit was now a lead. And he'd bring up another well-deserved ton, this time from 116 balls, with his 16th boundary. The Welsh side now had a slender lead thanks to Carlson. Could he push on and possibly force a victory on the final day? The lead would grow to 50 as the day drew to a close. Callum Taylor sticking around with Carlson, the pair notching up a century stand from 220 balls thanks to another Carlson boundary. They'd reached the close of play on 258 for 5. A good showing with the bat had put them right back in the contest, heading into the final day.
Chris, taking the game into a final day, how do you see the way that the third day went?
I think it was a pretty good day for us, and Kieran's played unbelievably well there and given us a bit of hope for tomorrow, so we just have to keep fighting.
What's the secret to survival out there?
I think it's just having a good positive game plan, which Kieran's done all game and all season really so far, and looking to score, being positive. It can be quite difficult to score at times, but you just gotta stick in and you will get your rewards.
First Welshman to score 2 tons in a match for 16 years. Not a bad achievement after his troubles last season. How has he turned things around, do you think?
Yeah, he's played beautifully and he deserves all the accolades there. He's worked really hard this winter. He batted 3 first last year and he got a few good balls. But no, he's come back really strong and he's really looking the real deal now.
So at one stage it looked as though Sussex might be pressing for victory tonight. How much does it mean to you to see 2 young men fighting it out through the final session?
Yeah, they've shown a lot of character and Sussex bowled pretty well then and put us in some difficult positions, but yeah, they dug deep and got through that tough spell, and hopefully the sun will be out tomorrow and we can bat further into the day.
How much further into the day do you need to bat to have a chance of a draw, do you think?
I'm not sure, it depends how quickly we score, I guess, but we'll just be looking at the first half an hour and the first hour and kind of go from there.
What's the wicket doing, if anything?
I think it's, I'm not sure how the go after the heavy rolling gets on it again, but I think today in the afternoon session it maybe started going a little bit more up and down, but it's still a pretty good wicket, so if we keep to our game plans and they play like they did tonight, I'm sure we'll be okay.
Scoreboard with Kieran Carlson on 129 not out. Callum Taylor is his partner at the crease. They've made a century partnership and taken this game into the fourth day, which had looked at one stage on day 3 as if Sussex might wrap it up yesterday, but that's not the case, and in glorious sunshine we should see a good bit of cricket today. I'm Nick Webb of BBC Sport Wales. Alongside me is Adrian Harms of BBC Radio Sussex. Very good morning, Adrian.
Yeah, good morning to you, Nick. Another lovely day. It's always like this in Wales.
Yes, yeah. 365 days a year.
It just looks wonderful, doesn't it? It's been a wonderful 4 days down here. Thoroughly enjoyed it. To all intents and purposes, you would think that Sussex are still in a very strong position in this match, and they are. There's no question about that. But I think the concern for Sussex will be that Ollie Robinson has been very much the star bowler. He's taken 4 of the 5 wickets to go down, and Ian Salisbury spoke last night about just how important the new ball is. And so it goes without saying that this opening hour, Ian was saying that after 30 overs, it does get a lot more difficult to take wickets. So Sussex will know how important this opening hour is. By the same token, the Glamorgan batsmen will feel, I guess, if they can get through this first hour, see Robinson off, then perhaps they'll feel they're in with a shout of taking the game, relatively deep.
Yeah, Robinson with 4 for 59 off his 20 overs at the moment. To add to his first innings, 4 for 50. We'll be updating BBC Radio Wales listeners in a few minutes' time. So, yes, Robinson against Carlson. The Glamorgan innings have been, both of them really. Kieran Carlson, 256 runs in the match so far.
Well, he's batted magnificently throughout, he really has. The 2 star performers in the match, really. There have been other performers as well, but those 2 are excellent.
Stean Van Zyl, Tom Haynes, Aaron Thomason, David Lloyd in the first innings have all been useful with the bat. But it is to be that confrontation, by the look of it. Robinson is lurking with intent, or is he?
Yes, did he bowl the last over last night? I think he did.
Nice.
So it looks, I think it's going to be Henry Crocombe who's going to open
Robinson
up for
is
Sussex.
just lurking up there at mid-on. Or mid-off?
Yes.
Yes, it would be... surprised that it hasn't happened occasionally, actually. That players have forgotten who's bowled the last over the night before. But I guess the scorers would...
Well, the umpires ought to know, I guess.
The umpires ought to know. It's Crocombe then to bowl from the River Taff end to Carlson, who the ball flies to slip, and I thought for a moment that it had carried off the glove.
Yes, so did I. It just bounced in front of Tom Clark, who's in there at second slip. In fact, it was a good stop diving away to his right-hand side. I'm just seeing whether George Garton is on the field. We were told last year he's down there at deep mid-wicket, but he's got a sore heel, which was the reason he only bowled 2 overs yesterday. But the fact he's on the pitch, it's just maybe it's not too bad.
So an early warning for Kieran Carlson if he needed it, as he drives on the offside straight to cover and there's no run. 2 slips for Crocombe to Carlson. Maybe they ought to have more with the new ball.
Yeah, I think we were a bit surprised at some of the tactics just with the last 5 overs last night. You'd expect Robinson to have a very attacking field.
Here comes Crocombe then from the River Taff end. And he comes and bowls to Carlson, who works it off his legs for the first runs in the morning. There's a good scrambling stop on the boundary by George Garton, bruised heel and all. And that's the first run of the morning, 259 for 5.
Yeah, I mean, he really is an excellent fielder, George Garton. He's very quick across the turf, and as you say, he has got this bruised heel, but no sign of it there.
So, Crocombe, promising match for the young seamer as he bustles in towards us and bowls to Taylor. and he works that on the leg side for a single. There are too many relatively easy runs for Glamorgan on offer here.
Yeah, we did mention that last night, and it's not intended to be a criticism, but I'm a little surprised. I mean, this new ball is only in its 6th over, and that was just a clip into the leg side.
260 for 5. Crocombe bowls, and Carlson drives the one fielder, saving the single on the leg side. Radio update to follow. Glamorgan are 260 for 5 in their second innings. That is a lead of 64 runs over Sussex as they look to get this game as deep as possible into this final day. The visitors still favourites, but standing between them at the moment, Kieran Carlson on 130 not out, Callum Taylor on 34 not out. The new ball, the first hour, will be really important as Sussex look for the breakthrough, and Glamorgan are 261 for 5. As Carlson took another single while I was summarising events there. So Crocombe with a good first delivery as Carlson saw the ball fly just short of slip off his glove. So well bowled young Crocombe. I think he's done well to provide support for Ollie Robinson in this game.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that if you were talking about the Sussex attack, I mean, Ollie Robinson has clearly been the standout bowler in terms of the seamers. The spinners both bowled well and perhaps could have picked up wickets yesterday. There were a couple of chances Ian Salisbury said that went down off of Rawlins, and I can only assume that was a tactic to give Carlson the single and get him off strike.
Very strange.
But this partnership is now worth 112.
Yes, it's got some way to go to become a record for Glamorgan against Sussex, so I won't trouble you with that yet.
Yeah, but it just seemed a slightly odd tactic, unless they really feel they can get at Taylor. And if he gets out, then the tactic's justified as Robinson runs away from us. He's in and bowls and played into the offside, fielded at backward point by George Dalton, and there is no run. Singles around. The Sussex tactic here this morning seems to be to expose Callum Taylor to the strike. I'm sure that Glamorgan are probably quite happy to pick up the singles, but clearly it's a tactic that Sussex are looking to employ here this morning. Interesting.
Yes, play at Pompey. Yes, Jonathan Hughes was indeed the last Welsh batsman to score 2 centuries for Glamorgan in the same game. As Crocombe runs towards us and bowls to Taylor, who allows that one to go through outside off stump. Rick Walton was obviously in chirpy mood last night. Bat deep into the afternoon, and Hogan 6 for 32. There we are.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick. At Cricket Man Wales. I think Glamorgan would be delighted with any chance of escaping with a draw, and Hogan would be delighted to have his feet up. As Crocombe bowls, and Taylor plays that away on the offside, fielded by Rawlins, who boundary ropes up at the River Taff end. Not absolutely perfectly timed, but still got a very good bat on it, and that is the first boundary of the morning, and Glamorgan move on to 267 for 5, which is a lead of 71 runs over Sussex. But I think realistically Glamorgan need to bat for at least most of the afternoon session. If they're still in at tea, then Sussex would be getting somewhat concerned, and that's a long ask for the lower 5 to get through two sessions.
I guess the other thing is, I mean, it's about batting time, but it's also about scoring runs as well. Because the more obvious thing to say, the more runs Glamorgan get ahead, the more runs Sussex have got to get, and getting him on strike. In fact, it was Stian van Zyl who took the catch. My apologies for that. But round of applause. Nice to see the Sussex players on the balcony applauding as well, because it's been a wonderful effort by Kieran Carlson. Out for 100 and was that 132?
132,
132.
yeah. So 259 runs in the match. His partnership with Taylor was worth 117.
And Ollie Robinson picks up another fifer.
And they were together, those two, for around about 43 overs.
Yeah. So, Sussex with a breakthrough. We knew this morning would be really, really important. And the new batsman coming out is Dan Douthwaite, who has got history against Sussex, making a very good 100 in a one-day game down at Hove a couple of years ago now. Certainly wasn't last season.
Yes, it was just before he was signed by Glamorgan, wasn't
Yes.
it? Because he scored that 100 down against Sussex, and then he scored 95 for Cardiff Universities against Glamorgan, and was playing for them within a few weeks.
Fair to say he's an attacking batsman.
Yes.
Yeah, he's so this could be interesting. Takes guard from umpire Debenham. Ollie Robinson down below us. 59 runs in the match as Robinson wheels around in front of us and comes running in bright sunshine to bowl to the right-handed Douthwaite. He's in and bowls, and Douthwaite again was squared up there by Ollie Robinson. He was looking to play there on the onside. It was slightly short of a length, but he played it into the covers, and there is no run. If you want to get in touch with us, it'd be lovely to hear from you throughout the day. sussexcricket@bbc.co.uk if you'd like to email us, or tweeting us as usual at NickWebb2017 or at BBC Sussex Sport. And the lead for Glamorgan here is 71, so effectively 71 for 6, as Robinson is on his way again. Drew Douthwaite forward, played to mid-on, and there is no run, fielded there by Tom
Bowls, and Taylor defence, thinks about a single, but Rawlins jogs in to prevent that. So 3 for Alan Jones. Then Javed Mianded, the Pakistan, for 6. The lead is 79. Crocombe has the ball back in his hands at the River Taff end. Past umpire Wharf, bowls outside off stump. Taylor has nothing to do with it. Mike Powell, the last Welsh batsman here then, or British batsman, 2003. Johnny Hughes did it against Middlesex at Southgate in 2005. And then Marnus Labuschagne of Australia here a couple of years ago against Worcestershire. So we are, and listening with some Glamorgan greats. As Taylor works one through the leg side, we'll get at least a single, and they'll come back for a second. As is that Robinson? They're just running round the ball slightly, but I think we'll forgive him, given that he has been Sussex's main man with the ball in this match. 277 for 6, then Glamorgan leading by 81 runs.
Just looking at the statistics on Ollie Robinson, and I think these stats are generally updated at the end of a match, Nick. I don't think they're done on it.
Another 100 runs if they were to think of putting any significant pressure on Sussex in a 4th innings.
Robinson 3 slips waiting in and bowls, and Douthwaite is right in behind that and plays firmly to mid-on, fielded by Tom Haynes, and there is no run.
Steve West says, terrific game for Carlson. Is he the new Matthew Maynard that we've been looking for? Well, I expect he'd rather be the new Kieran Carlson, really, or the best Kieran Carlson that he can be. Because
passengers while Carlson carries 10.
Oof.
That's a bit harsh.
No.
All the best, stay safe, and thanks for your commentaries.
Good gag, but harsh.
Yeah. As Robinson is on his way again, the 3 slips go down, he bowls, and Douthwaite's right in behind this and nudges that past 3rd slip. That's going to race way down towards the boundary. Garton is in hot pursuit, showing no ill effects of that bruised heel. He overhauls the ball and gets in the throw, and it's 2-all to Douthwaite, who goes 2-4, and the Glamorgan total to 281 for 6, which means it's a lead of 85. More importantly, perhaps for Glamorgan, they've negotiated another over of Ollie Robinson, who has been the main wicket taker for Sussex, picking up those 5 wickets. He can't bowl forever, and that's what the Glamorgan batsmen need to tell each other.
Yes, let's get through this guy. The next 20 minutes, maybe. In terms of Glamorgan individual performances in this game, I mean, David Lloyd, 84 in the first innings, and a couple of wickets. Dan Douthwaite was 3rd top scorer, 36, but provided some useful support. And a couple of wickets as well, Mike. And the opportunities for several others to put their names in the plus column in this. His first half century of the season. It's taken 135 balls approximately, and included 6 fours.
He's batted very well. He came in at a very difficult time for Glamorgan when they were 150 for 5. Wonderful partnership with him and Carlson, and he's certainly done his bit.
Can he in turn kick on? Can Douthwaite build something? There is a... as Carson floats one up and Douthwaite drives it, I think on the full, but straight to mid-off, and there's no...
Be resting, but he's out in the field. He doesn't seem to be running in any discomfort. I know it's different when you're bowling, but maybe it just says a little bit about the other seam options that Ben Brown feels that he has at the moment, and that perhaps Carson represents more of a threat. Ollie Robinson is going to carry on. From this, the Cathedral Road end, comes in and bowls to Dan Douthwaite, who works that quietly down to fine leg and picks up a single. And the total goes to 284 for 6, the lead up to 88. I'll go at the end of this over and do my update to the listeners on BBC Radio Sussex. Graham has been in touch. He says, looking at the LBW decisions, he thinks, because there have been 15 in this match? Yes.
Yeah.
He felt that 9 of them were definitely out. 5 not out and 1 marginal. He says, 5 not out and 1 marginal, as Robinson is back to his mark. Now he's brought up the one.
Is into bowl to Douthwaite, who defends that out on the offside, and no run.
Yes, Robinson again striking, and as Nick says, getting Glamorgan's best batsman in this game out. And Taylor really has played his part well. He is an attacking batsman, but he reined himself in and supported Carlson, and has played extremely well, as I say. Whether he's covering the ball that goes outside the off stump, the one that goes with the arm, or perhaps he thinks if he drives at it, he might just get an edge. As Carson comes in, tosses this one up, and again it's on the back foot, played back down the pitch. Short leg and a slip of the close fielders.
What I liked about Taylor's batting is that he's shown himself capable of batting in different gears for Glamorgan in this brief career.
He's coming over the wicket now, is Carlson. Bowls, and this time it's a straight ball. Positive and solid defence there from Taylor. And in outfield again. Slip and a short leg for either side.
Bowls a short ball that Taylor ducks out of the way of. Round 3 then of the County Championship starts on Thursday with Glamorgan travelling to Northants, as I put all my layers of clothing in the back of the car, and Sussex will be entertaining Yorkshire in the first home game of the season at Hove. All being well with the Hove outfield, which has seen off its infestation of whatever insects it was. Robinson bowls to Taylor, who drives gently to mid-on, no run.
Notice at the end of Robinson's last over, he had a longish chat there with Ben Brown, the captain, and someone else, whether they'll think, well, we'll give Ollie one more over, but he's only been bowling basically for 40 minutes. Perhaps you want to try and get another wicket, have this over, because the ball isn't new, and what is it, how many overs old?
About 15, is it?
Yes. As he comes in, bowls again, and this time draws the bat.
Oh, there wasn't. Mr. Debenham is some of the slowest leg by signals that I've seen for a long time. They're breaking for sanitisation, and at the end of the over, it is 292 for 6, the lead 96 runs, but Glamorgan desperate to try and get another 100 somehow from these last 4 wickets if they're to stand any chance of avoiding defeat.
Talking about signals, Nick, Mark Benson, who is now retired from is the next ball, and hands in the air from wicketkeeper Brown as Douthwaite goes back. You've got to be a bit careful if you go back.
Short and flatter, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah, you've got to be careful, because if it gets through, And he bowls a straight line, does Jack Carson. In he comes again, bowls Carson, accurate as ever, draws Douthwaite forward, and there's no run.
It's good to see all the games going into the final day, and probably a lot of them. Taylor 57 not out. Last season, maiden century on first class debut at Northampton, reaching it with a 6, the same match in which Marchant de Lange scored Glamorgan's quickest ever century. And Glamorgan still contrived to lose it, so it's an eventful 4 days at Northampton, where I'll be heading on Wednesday night. In company with Andrew Rudd and a couple of guests.
Rudders.
And there is no run. Speaking of Labuschagne, his and Michael Ness's domestic duties are over for Queensland because they beat New South Wales by an innings and 33 runs in the Sheffield Shield final to become Australian domestic champions with a day to spare. It's scheduled to be a 5-day game just in case. Nessa won for 41.
Full man Michael Kasparowicz, of course. So they were very good players. Carson in, bowls. This is played back down the pitch. And from South Australia, there's Mark Cosgrove. Matthew Elliott, what a fine player he was.
Yes, he wasn't a star name, was he? But he was extraordinarily effective.
Yes. Round the wicket this time, and again his defensive response. I remember we talked about Steve James's 309 not out against Sussex at Colwyn Bay, where Steve thought there might be quite a bit in it. Well, there was really in the first over when Elliott hit Jason Lurie for 3 fours. That was that. Here's the next ball, and it's pushed down the pitch, and there's no run. That's the end of the over, and it is 295 for 6. I can't think of many Australians who have come to Glamorgan who have not been successful. Yeah, the old South Church Park, which is a lovely venue in Southend. They played a couple of grounds in Southend, but Viv that day. And John Childs, you know, the sort of left-arm bowler from, initially, of course, from Gloucester, and then moved to Essex, where he got his England cap. He kept hitting him into the main road.
Oh, gosh.
I'll never forget that at Long On. He just peppered him, you know, and Viv's strength. But it was a terrific innings, and, you know, it's a lovely wicket there always.
Crocombe bowls, and Taylor defends it back down the pitch, and there is no run. There's a gentleman on Twitter who's managed to capture the signs of all the county games. And
you think of players that and as I talk, there will be a change of bowling. Good spell now from Jack Carson, and he's replaced by Delroy Rawlings, who bowled very economically last night, and you couldn't take any liberties with him. And talking about the one-day games, there are certain players, not to be named, who will not be involved in 2020. I was going to mention my Nick Selman, but he played extremely well in last, attempting to make what they can. Well, this Sussex attack, and in comes the next one. Now that's spun, whether it's spun off the straight or whether it came from the footholds, but Taylor just flapped at it and it rose. A good take by Ben Brown, not very glad. Took it above his shoulders, and to be just a little bit of rough that Rawlings is aiming for. That's the end of another over. And,
Glamorgan would settle, maybe, for the same again in the next hour. But that would still leave Sussex in the game. Crocombe bowls. Taylor defends out on the offside.
Checking in this morning, Nick, to have my temperature taken, and talking to the chief security man, who you know extremely well. And I said, any news at all of the pilot? And he ruefully shook his head.
3 for 6. As Rawlins bowls, and Taylor is stretching forward, defending, and there's no run. And I'll let Edward describe the rest of this over.
Thanks, Nick. And round the wicket comes Rawlins, who I think is as dangerous as anybody. Obviously, apart from Robinson. He's, I want you to defend every good ball. If you get something you think you can wallop, go for it. But the prerogative is defend and try and stay there, because taking time out of the game, of course, that's hugely important as well.
And there has been the talk, and Ian Salisbury spoke about it last night, about the importance of the first 30 overs with the new ball, and we're now, 21 overs with this new ball. As in comes Henry Crocombe running in to bowl to Dalton, who lets that one go outside of the off stump, taken by Ben Brown, and there is no run.
The pitch, of course, is stunned. Well, that's only a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they'll have to give a negative COVID test, and there's going to be 4,000 people at Wembley today for the FA Cup semi-final. Crocombe in a game bowls. Good over by Henry Crocombe. He's made...
On the button, isn't he?
Yeah, he's made Dalton play every single delivery in that over. It's a good over. There's nothing in this pitch for young Henry Crocombe, and in my opinion, not that that really matters a jot, but I think his opinion, not that that really matters at Sussex, and I would say comfortably the second best seamer behind Ollie Robinson. Just one thing I wanted to say to you, Edward, and is my moan for the day, and I love the city of...
Comes round umpire Wharf, bowls again, and this time again it's forward. Again, there's no run as Rawlins hurls the ball in the air. At the end of the over, I don't think in any way that is saying I'm fed up, but just as you do.
Actually, Edward, as well, I was thinking that I do like this change in the point system in the Championship this year. You get 8 points for a draw, because there's a major incentive here for Glamorgan. They've, for a lot of this game, been on the back foot, but they will feel if they can come out of this game with 8 points for a draw, they've taken 4. Yep. Runs away from us again, comes into bowl to Taylor, and again Taylor has to play, and he works this down to third man, and picks up a single.
He'll sleep well tonight.
Taylor
might lose a bit of weight today too.
Yeah, Taylor goes to 62 and the total to 307 for 6. I have to say, I think that they've got 2 young seamers in the squad, the other one being Sean Hunt, who's also 19, and I'm sure that the plan is to rotate those younger bowlers. And maybe it's the weight of bowling, I don't know, but with so much cricket coming on, you wonder whether perhaps he'd be better off the field if he's...
He has had some injuries, hasn't he, during his short career. Here's Rawlins to start a new over, and he's pushed away on the onside, and they scamper a single.
Just Crocombe bowled 15 overs in the first innings, so he's bowled 35 overs in the match, Henry Crocombe.
So Glamorgan move on to 316 for 6. As Dalton has moved on to 18. Taylor is on 63. He's been there some time. In fact, he faced 188 balls. Here's the left arm spin of Delroy Rawlins, and pushed forward by Douthwaite, a little bit in the air, but no chance to short leg.
Robson, I wonder if that's a message from perhaps Ian Salisbury that's coming out. Stuart Meaker was part of that as well. Now, they're calling up Jack. Now, that's a very late call for this over, because Henry Crocombe has been taken out of the attack, and it's going to be Jack Carson, who wasn't expecting to bowl then. That was interesting. There's a conversation between Robinson, Brown, Aaron Tonnesser was involved as well. Will Beer came out. I don't know whether message or not, but he suddenly brought the helmet out, and it is going to be Jack Carson who's...
Alex Wharf has had a word with the umpire and has sort of nodded his head, but now Will Beer is running off the field as if to say, hang on, what's going on? I suspect it'll be a message from Ian Salisbury.
Well, there was definitely... I don't think Carson was expecting... Well, Stuart Meaker standing hands on hips. I mean, he hasn't bowled at all this morning. Which is interesting, and as I said earlier, perhaps it just says much about where Ben Brown thinks he's going to get a wicket from here.
Or it's a basic change of ends, but you say he wasn't ready, prepared to bowl, so it's not pre-planned.
No. So, Just looking at some of the other games, we were saying yesterday that we were clipped away by Taylor to mid-wicket, fielded by Tom Clark on his knees. It's a maiden over from Jack Carlson, 28 overs, 6 maidens, 0 for 59. Glamorgan 316 for 6. It means the lead is 120. We've had 27 overs now with this ball, and as I say, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, we've
Third man. What they're trying to do is to stifle Glamorgan, make sure there's no boundaries.
Yeah, and that's sort of, the only counter-argument to that is there's a lot of singles around the ground.
And what if one flies to first or second slip and there's no one there?
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. All very interesting as Mika comes over the wicket and bowls now, and this is clipped away. Taylor, Douthwaite is backing up, wants a run, and Taylor says certainly not. Taylor Rawlings on the fine leg boundary. A drink from the 12th man. See that hand of his then, which is quite heavily bandaged, his right hand. Not bandaged, well.
So maybe a bit of
big plaster, yes. That perhaps we thought yesterday the reason why he is down at fine leg. It's Mika accelerates and comes in and bowls, and this is nudged down to third man where they will get a single. Very frustrating for Sussex.
Clipped away with a fairly fine leg. And as I say, Delray is very quick across the ground. He had no chance of cutting that off.
As we approach the end of the over, in comes Mika, bowls rather a wasted delivery. Bouncer over the left shoulder, so useful runs for Glamorgan there. That's the end of it. I don't want to sound like a record player, but and of course Mika might knock all 3 stumps out in the next over. I would have kept Rawlings on, or bring him to this end, if you're going to chop and change.
Well, I can't, as I say, there's probably method in the madness somewhere, but I cannot see the point of bowling balls halfway down the wicket on this track. You're not going to get wickets there. Now there's another conversation going on between Ben Brown, Jack Carson, but Carson will carry on, which is good. Carson fills up his own bowling. Callum Taylor is on 66. How many balls has Taylor faced? I think it's up on the screen there, Edward.
191.
Carson again, floated off break, but Taylor was well forward, plays it straight back down the track, fielded by Carson.
Leicestershire have conceded over 600 in 2 successive games.
Yeah, so did they lose 2 last week? Hampshire. And Hampshire have won both matches as well, haven't they? Middlesex have lost both matches. So in bowling, there is no run.
What a pair of opening bowlers, just to open your attack. And Douthwaite has reined in his attacking nature and has played quite well, hasn't he?
Well, both of these two, I think, are just hopefully talking to themselves all the time. Rein it in, don't play the hook shot. There's people out there waiting for it.
No slips now for Mika as he comes in again and bowls, and this is played away on the onside to Clark at short mid-on and leaved on the leg side. Mika has a word. Douthwaite just stares at him. End of the over, and 2 runs coming from it from that new ball. And Glamorgan are 326 for 6. Taylor is on 66. Douthwaite is on 23. The run rate marginally under 3, 2.96.
But the lead, 130 runs for Glamorgan, the one that counts at the moment. And Sussex, well, I imagine they'd be very frustrated if they were not to press home their advantage in this game, having been so far ahead.
Glamorgan will say, if we can add another 70, then we could be a thrilling afternoon's cricket.
Well, if they
Glamorgan will say, if we can add another 70, I'll tell you what, Nick, you can talk about your 100, you can talk about your T20, but just look at this game now, and it's a terrific game of cricket, as there has been around the country.
Short leg is restored for Douthwaite, but he pushes it defensively back down the wicket.
I think you mentioned this morning that every game is going on the 4th day up to lunchtime. Terrific. And
yeah, the glorious Gloucesters or Essex Durham, those are the 2
closest to a finish. Let's just give you the scores in those. Durham, Essex need 2 wickets, Durham need 47 runs. So a tremendous fight back if Essex win that one, showing their champions' pedigree, because they were 163 behind on first innings.
And when you think of it, Nick, they're 140 behind Middlesex.
Yeah. Which you've seen more often in this match than in usually a month or two of cricket. Usually, of course, most of the fielders on the offside in professional cricket.
There's Mika over the wicket, ball short again.
Slightly better, but batsman swayed out the way again.
There's your first one for the over, Mr. Mika, says Mr. Wharf. I suppose they're trying, aren't they? They're trying all sorts to try and get a wicket, and I don't think you can blame Mika too much. Do you reckon he's under orders? I do.
I presume it's a tactic.
And he comes.
Presume it's a tactic.
And he comes at the wicket, but I think if you watch Brown, Mika stares at Callum Taylor. And that is the end of rather an eventful over. This is so enjoyable, you know, both sides trying their damnedest to get on top of each other, and it's a battle with, 19 minutes to go before luncheon.
Yes, it's a date on the scoreboard, isn't it? But there's so much tension out there in the middle at the moment.
It's frustrating, and you feel it, you know, played the game, albeit at club level, and you think...
Had they both set off straight away, but Rawlings is an excellent fielder, so Taylor had not set off straight away. And Rawlings was standing outside on the staircase briefly, and he's really chirping away in support of his fellow bowlers. Carson bowls, Douthwaite back on his stumps, playing to mid-wicket, and there's 5 for 57, Sam Cook 3 for 17, Jamie Porter the other 2. Remarkable comeback by the county champions.
Mika starts on the over, and it's uppercutted for 4, if you know what that phraseology means. Mika tried the usual bouncer at the start, and the one-day shot came up with Taylor, like the periscope coming up from a submarine, and it was 4 runs.
Yes, now will that encourage Sussex, do you think, that he's willing to play that?
He played so often, Nick, in one-day cricket. It's not a risky shot anymore.
It's a third man down here.
Yes, but third man is more of a cut or an edge. I think if you just go like that, how many times we see those going for 6 right over the bowler's wicket-keeper's head. The complaint is about the ball.
Can we have a new one,
Alex
please?
Wharf was a fine pace bowler himself for Yorkshire, Nottinghamshire, and his last county, Glamorgan, and is having a good look at it. And they're thinking that'd be great. That'd be great. The score is 3-3-1, and Taylor has moved on to 70, but to no avail. Just the 1 wicket fall this morning. 3 runs he added to the score before Kieran Carlson was out for 132. There's Stuart Mika coming in from the far end now, and bowls a bouncer at Douthwaite, who has nothing at all to do with it, and let it go through down the leg side. But Captain Brown takes it.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because, all right, there are plans to be had with short pitch bowling, obviously, but from the batsman's point of view, if all you have to do is get out of the way of anything short.
Yeah, I take your point, but they will say to you, well, we're trying everything we can. As in comes Mika, bowls, and down the leg side again it goes, and a good tumbling stop by wicketkeeper Brown.
I mean, having got Kieran Carlson first thing this morning, around about 10 minutes into the day, Sussex must have been on a high at the time. 4 wickets to go, and the best part of a day.
I think Dalton must be injured.
Well, yes, this heel, the bruised heel, must be preventing him from bowling. Taylor drives, it's gone past Silly Point, but straight to Rawlins at cover, and there is no run. It is 332.46, the lead 136 as Edward dives out of the way so I can see the screen as Taylor plays one gently down into the ground and bounces up to silly point, and there is no run. The man and the lid is still Aaron Thomason for his sins. Carson around the wicket to Taylor, watched carefully by Taylor and defended on the leg side, and there's no run. Scoring rate going down almost by the minute at the moment.
It up as Clark comes in and bowls, driven away on the offside. There's no run.
Yeah, Van Zyl hasn't had a bowl in this innings.
No.
He was second change in the first innings.
Back goes Clark, runs about 10, 11 yards. Tall young man, comes in past umpire Wolf, down, and bowls, and this is pushed back by Douthwaite. He was also thinking of a spot of luncheon.
Seen plenty of Rawlins, whom we didn't see in the first innings. He's bowled 19 overs, 0 for 29.
Yeah, he bowls extremely well. As I mentioned at the time, I'd have kept him on, but there we are. Mika's tried, but he's been now taken off as Clark bowling a much fuller length. Gets the ball just to lift a little. It's played out onto the offside.
Will Beer must be wishing he'd had a game, the Sussex Spinners among their travelling party.
Blankers these days, you're right. This could be the last ball of the over as Clark comes in and bowls, and that hurries on to Douthwaite, who nudges it away. It is the last ball of the over, and the Glamorgan score now remains on 332 for 6, Taylor on 72. Douthwaite not playing his normal game, but effective nevertheless, is on 23.
Yeah, these two very much with their eyes on survival until the interval at the moment. And they'll have to reset afterwards. The interval always gives the bowlers that little bit more chance, doesn't it? We saw
that this morning after the
this
break
morning,
overnight.
and again
after lunch.
After the long break yesterday, Chris Cook was out straight afterwards.
And Rawlins are going to have a bowl at this end now. And they are attacking. Nick.
Yeah, Stelray Rawlins with his left arm spin to bowl his 20th over of the innings. Very economical. Run and a half an over he's gone for, and he'll bowl to Taylor with a short leg and a slip, and that's short and flat, and Taylor just steers it up to mid-on, and there's no run. So attacking instincts very much reined in, even with less than perfect delivery like that, as Rawlins bowls again slightly short, probably run out of time anyway.
Tom Clark to bowl the last over before lunch at Dan Douthwaite. Keeper standing up, and first slip quite a way back as in comes Clark. Bowls the first ball and left outside the off stump, taken by Brown. 6 on the offside, a slip, a backward point, a deep extra cover, an extra cover, and then mid-off, and a man on the drive on the offside. So obviously he's trying to hit that off stump or thereabouts, is Tom Clark. And he comes, bowls again. Again, there's a defensive response coming from Dan Douthwaite. So the lead for, where are we, 332 is slowly mounting. 130. Foot plays it out to Rawlins, a short extra cover. 1 ball left. And this is going to work nicely for you, Nick, I think.
It will indeed. We can deliver the radio summary and 1 drop for a bite to eat. Well, I'll say 1 drop because there isn't anywhere to wander these days.
And an assortment of cakes which has been contributed by us 3. Here we are, then last ball, shoulders, arms, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the morning session as you all go and have your lunch. I would describe it in 1 word, that morning session: enthralling, Nick.
Yes, you wouldn't think so from the scorecards necessarily, with Glamorgan only adding further 74 runs for the loss of 1 wicket, but Sussex will be frustrated by that 1 wicket figure, having got rid of Kieran Carson early on. So 332 for 6 at the interval, with Callum Taylor still there on 72 not out. Dan Douthwaite is on 23 not out, and commentary will resume at 1:40. Thank you very much indeed, and hope you can join us again for the afternoon session.
Hi there, my name's Harry Withers and I'm the first team captain here at Vale CC. We have 3
Sophia Gardens between Glamorgan and Sussex in the LV County Championship Group 3. And resuming after lunch, Glamorgan 332 for 6, a lead of 136 runs. And is the draw now creeping towards it, and in terms of probability?
Yeah, I think it quite possibly is, Nick. And Callum Taylor goes to 76. It was an involuntary edge. It's raced away down to the boundary. Past Van Zoden. It looks like he's hurt his hand in there at first slip. It went very quickly. And Glamorgan go to 336 for 6, a lead of 140. And every run is important because it's more runs Sussex have got to get. It's more time it's going to take out of the game.
Yes, it's going to be complex equations over the next session, isn't it?
Certainly is. In comes Dalton and bowls, and forward comes Taylor. Plays it into the offside. He's played very well. 76 in 222 balls. So it's been a mammoth effort of concentration as well from Callum Taylor. When you think where Glamorgan were when he came into bat and joined Kieran Carlson, we were thinking yesterday, who knows? We thought we might be finished last night. But Glamorgan had other ideas. Garton is back. Glamorgan had other ideas. Garton is back to his mark down in front of us. He's in and bowls, and forward comes Taylor and plays quietly to...
Yes, that's starting to come into play as well. That game at Northampton last year, we had stories coming out of our ears, really, from a Welsh point of view. Taylor with a century on debut, reaching with a 6. Added 124 for the last wicket in 11.2 overs with Michael Hogan.
Crumbs.
Glamorgan having been 135 for 9. They've still behind on first innings. Then they collapsed again in the second innings, but Marchant de Lange hit Glamorgan's quickest ever century, batting at number 10. Glamorgan still lost, but not before Michael Hogan had claimed his 600th first-class wicket. Wow. So had virtually a story a day from that day, and it was so windy they dispensed with bails on the last day.
So when was that game played, Nick? Was it?
Nearly every case will be enough to win you a match, but Glamorgan trying to disprove that as Robinson is into ball outside off stump, and Taylor allows it to go through. Let's see how many other matches have finished. 3 of them, in fact, already, and could be a couple more finishes with a positive result in this group as well. Essex beat Durham by 44 runs, bowling the visitors out for just 123 at Chelmsford, with 5 wickets for Harmer, the South African spinner, as Robinson is into bowl to Taylor, who drives again on the offside. This time doesn't get a run as it's fielded by Carson at point. Hampshire have completed a very emphatic win over Middle. Round, well, considerably better. They managed 281 all out, but they were still beaten by Hampshire by 249. They managed 281.
3-4-1 for 6. The lead is 145. And Garton, who's showing no ill effects of having a heel problem, wheels round in front of us. And will be on his way from the Cathedral Road end of the ground. Another sunny day in Cardiff, comes in and bowls. Oh, now that was a good delivery. And that was just that point in the pitch where the occasional one has just leapt a little. Lots of blue sky around, but some more sort of fair weather, high-level cloud just drifting across Cardiff as Garton is on his way again and bowls. And that's wide of the off-stump and driven without timing by Taylor to extra cover. No run. End of the over, end of the third over after lunch. Glamorgan are 342 for 6. Taylor 81, Douthwaite on 24. The lead therefore is 146, and we've got 60 overs remaining in the day.
Edward instructed me to post a picture of the 2 third men earlier from Ben Brown when Callum Taylor tried an uppercut. Alan. So Robinson trying to add to his 5-wicket haul. Bowls, and Taylor dabs on the offside. He wants a run. Douthwaite quite rightly says, "Not on your Nelly," as Haynes was quickly round to field.
He was a bit annoyed about that, Callum Taylor. He had a couple of looks at Douthwaite as if there was definitely a single there. I don't know if he'd been unsettled by that previous delivery. So
strange really, as Robinson bowls and Taylor plays on the leg side. Rawlins fields at short mid-wicket, and there's no run. You would have thought that a female taking a job as a coach at a male professional side might have had it in her head that, oh, no one's done this before, but apparently not.
That'll be great. That'll be really good.
That's a boost for the women's game to have.
Around the outfield. Made 97 in the first innings. Very fine innings. Just 3 short of his 100 as in comes Garton and bowls, and again that was right on the stumps, and he's got his hands to his head, George Garton.
He's getting excited.
He is. He gets very excited, George, particularly when he hits the pads. But the good news is, what I'm liking about this spell from Garton is he's making the batsman play, and that certainly wasn't the case. I think there were some different tactics when Stuart Meeker was bowling pre-lunch, but there were an awful lot of deliveries that the batsmen could just watch sail over their heads. But that isn't the case here. They're having to work hard. And Garton is just asking 1 or 2 questions. As he's in again. Bowls, and again, right on the stump.
Umpire Zebnam did not.
No, he didn't.
As Garton takes his cap and trudges off in a "the world is all against me" manner down to fine leg. Life, it's so unfair.
I thought for a moment the umpire's finger was going to go up.
Well, they've used up their allocation for the match, haven't they? 15 LBWs, that's quite enough. They don't want to take the Ray Julian trophy for most LBWs. Or perhaps they do. Here's Robinson in then to bowl, and Taylor jabs down on it, and this time he does get the single on the offside that he's been seemingly looking for the last couple of overs, as the lead goes to
Is it 150 now?
Believe it is. His defensive shots down Douthwaite, but it doesn't really matter as long as they're effective.
I just think here that Robinson and Garton are just putting a bit of doubt in the batsman's mind. And I'd be sorely tempted here to get that sweeper off the cover boundary, maybe bring in a gully or another close fielder, and just maybe make these batsmen think there really is something going on here. There's time enough here for Sussex if they could pick up a couple of wickets.
Yeah, it is more of a run-saving field at the moment. But Robinson's bowling well, as there's appeal for LBW, and this time he's given Douthwaite. He's out. Sussex have got the 7th wicket, and they've kicked the door open once more in this victory bid, as Douthwaite's long vigil is ended. 346 for 7, effectively 150 for 7.
Well, you could almost feel that coming.
Yeah.
And I think George Garton takes some credit for that as well, because he's bowled a very good spell here after lunch from the Cathedral City end. I just felt before lunch that Sussex really rather lost their way. There was some quite negative cricket going on, but Garton has come on here after.
Just start protecting the tail enders a little bit.
Yeah.
Robinson then will come around the wicket to the left-hander. There's 2 slips in attendance now, and some closer field. There's another appeal. He's out first ball. James Wheeler's gone. Struck low down, and he has picked up a pair, I'm afraid, on debut. And Glamorgan are 8 down for 346. 150 is the lead. Robinson is on a hat-trick. Sussex are on a roll.
Well, they certainly are. 7 wickets in the innings for Ollie. 7 wickets in the innings for Ollie Robinson, and the 17th LBW of the match. So we are closing in on that record of 18 LBW of the match. So we are closing in on that run right on the attack here. As Sussex sense they're right back in with a chance of winning this game. Here comes Ollie Robinson. Can he claim a hat-trick? He runs in past umpire Wharf. He bowls, and the ball just drops short. Bowling's at 3rd slip, I think it was.
Certainly wasn't a chance,
no, it
but it
wasn't
was
a chance.
a suggestion of one.
Yeah. And Ollie Robinson, a fine leg all the way down the distance, and George Garton running away from us. Comes in and bowls to Van der Hookton, who's forward solidly, plays back down the track, footed by Garton of his own bowling, and there is no run. And I just say, there's a to make the point again, I think Dalton deserves a bit of credit for the way that he's bowled since lunch, because he's just created a little bit of pressure on the batsman. And Ollie Robinson, with that door just slightly ajar, took full advantage. Dalton in his 6th over, no wicket for 17. And he's on his way again to bowl to Tim van der Hoogten. He's in and bowls, and Van der Hoogten is forward and looks very solid and a very competent shot down to mid-on, fielded by Haynes. And there is no run. 347 for 8. Means the lead is 151. I wonder if he'd forgotten to signal. Nonetheless, it is a leg by, so Tim van der Hoogten remains without a run to his name. Not that he'll be bothered about that. 348 for 8. One ball remaining in the over. The fielder in saving the one, as you would expect, and Dalton is on his way. Running away from us, comes in and bowls, and Taylor has full faith in his partner and just plays it quietly into the offside, fielded by Delray Rawlins, and there is no run. So the end of a tidy over from George Garton, who's bowled 6 overs, no wicket for 18. And Glamorgan are 348 for 8. That's a lead of 152.
Are you broadcasting on the bottom of the hour, as they say in pop world?
Yes, I am. So what shall I do? Shall I have a breather and let
pop off, and Edward can replace you, and then
indeed
you can replace me in due course here on BBC Sport Online. Adrian Harms, Edward Bevan and myself, Nick Webb, bringing you the commentary. Also, of course, on the Glamorgan website. As Sussex bid to finish off this Glamorgan second innings, and Glamorgan try and make them work as hard as possible for a potential victory for the visitors. Robinson is the man who will claim a lion's share of the credit if they do, as he bowls to Van der Hoogten. So Robinson getting Douthwaite and Wheel in successive balls in this afternoon session, trying to add Van der Hoogten as he defends that out on the offside, and there's no run.
I think Van der Hoogten might have an injury, don't you? Because he came in one place lower. He might as well have come in when he did, because
one ball later
Wheel was trying to turn it from off stump. I think this is a game he really wants to forget.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see whether they give him another go at Northampton or allow him to regain some form in the seconds. Robinson bowls. Van der
Isn't he there to give him out?
How to think about it, maybe since they've given so many that they're reluctant to give any more.
7 now then in
7 in this innings, 18 in the match.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in Sussex's first innings.
5 in Glamorgan's first, wasn't it?
Oh, interesting. Is it the technique is at fault? Are you questioning the umpire? Or? No, you've got Michael Hogan. I hope he tried to repeat that shot Nick he played in the first innings.
Well, he was stumped for naught in the first innings, and it's time to bring that stat into play that Michael Hogan has never been LBW in first-class cricket in his 12-year professional career.
Driven out to deep extra cover, they take the single, which I think always is the thing to do.
Third ball of the over.
Yeah.
349 for 9, the lead 153. So Morgan prepared to give Hogan 3 balls to face. The field comes in. Just thought that.
Callum Taylor now, and suppose we'll have the same
cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse. And the lead now is, if I can see, the 349, 153.
Johnny Gaffer on Twitter says, shows the importance of bowling wicket to wicket and making batsmen play.
Absolutely. Even if they don't hit it.
Steve West holding on to hopes of a T20. Congratulations to him on a career best. And
what a performance.
13 wickets in the match, and Sussex will have the opportunity to chase a mere 154 for victory This game has gone very much in their favour in the last quarter of an hour or so. They have claimed 4 Glamorgan wickets for just 3 runs, and Glamorgan to some extent have undone the good work of the previous 2 sessions as Robinson got some life, not out of the new ball, out of a middle-aged ball. 9 for 78 Robinson's figures off 30.1 overs, and this is as good a seam bowling performance as you're likely to see in the county championship game.
Yeah, England selectors, are you taking note? I think he'll play, you know, when you look at the England side, because Ben Stokes is a third seamer. Would you bring a bowler? Because Robinson, as he demonstrated in the first innings with 67, is no mean performer. And Glamorgan have got an uphill task of denying Sussex victory. Oh, this could be the record.
Yeah. Hogan is coming around the wicket to the left-handed Haynes. He's in and bowls, and Haynes lets that one go outside of the off stump. So what we want to know, we've had 18 LBW decisions in this match. We understand that 18 is the record. Now, I'm not sure if that's a county championship record or a test match record or an all-time record for first-time cricket around the world, but it could well be, with Sussex needing 154 to win, that, you know, there could be another LBW decision. So if there's a statistician out there who can let us know, please do so. As in comes Hogan, bowls to Haynes, who whips this one down to fine leg and picks up a single. Does Haynes, the second run of this Sussex innings. But I'm sure you've been chatting about Ollie Robinson. We see a lot of him down at Hove and have watched the developments over the last 6 years since he came. But that was a pretty impressive spell of bowling on a pretty flat deck, Edward.
It was an excellent, not only this innings, of course, but the first innings. And there was always the threat. The only one that was going to dismiss Glamorgan was Robinson, because the rest of the bowling was quite ordinary, really.
It's that go outside the off stump, taken by a tumbling Cook, and there is no run.
Chase, because there's nothing in the pitch unless Hogan can emulate Ollie Robinson. But I think the batting on the top order especially will prove to be superior to Glamorgan's. You have to get first innings runs, and Glamorgan failed to do that, and they were always behind, chasing the game, as they say. Tim Malahooton then to the right-handed Thomason, comes in now and bowls to him, chops that away through where fourth slip would have been, and it is going to run away for 4 runs. Too much width there by Van de vacant, you know where position. But I suppose Glamorgan have to attack. They've got to try and take wickets to have any hope of drawing the game. They're not going to win it.
I guess with both of those had a fourth slip in place, that the runs might not have gone there. But on the other hand, there is a very wide third man, isn't there? He's almost a deep backward point, really.
Yes, he's not the orthodox.
Is that Callum Taylor all the way down there?
I think it is, yes. But here's Van der Gooten bowls. It's a far better delivery, which is pushed away back down the pitch. 11 without loss. The target is 154. And those figures, we believe, the best figures for a Sussex bowler in Glamorgan, certainly. And again, if there are any statisticians from Sussex down there, we know it's his career best. Are they the best? Has anybody taken all 10? Let's wait and see. We'll get the answers, I'm sure. Everybody thumbing their way through Wisden. Van der Gooten bowls, and this pushed up to mid-on. End of the over.
Elsewhere today around the country, looks like there could be a result at Derby. That game looks set for a draw, but Worcestershire are really struggling. 74 for 5, needing a very unlikely another 324 to win. So it looks like Derbyshire could be winning that one. Essex have already beaten Durham at Chelmsford, but it looks as if the home side are going to win, because Warwickshire are 197, squarer than I thought, and the fine leg was very fine. And it was a good shot by Tom Haynes, clipping the ball slightly back of the square. And the Sussex left-handed opener picks up his first boundary. He goes to 6, and Sussex to 15 without loss. Nice shot by Haynes, still too short from Hogan, who holds up his hand and apologies as Hogan is on his way. And the most, I'll read them out in order in a moment.
Yes, Van der Gooten bowls the right-handed Thomason, bowls a slower ball, which is recognised by the batsman, who just nudges forward defensively.
20 LBWs in the match between the West Indies and Pakistan in Guyana in 2011. There's another game with 20, Guyana v Jamaica in the same stadium in 2019-20.
Recently then. Van der Gooten, on a beautiful afternoon, comes in and bowls. Oh, that's short, and hammered away for 4 runs. Just to the right of where the man was, after a square sort of backward cover. Too short, and properly dealt with. Van der Gooten bowls in a wild shot from Thomason, trying to hit it through cover.
So thank you ever so much to I think it was Robert who sent that email through. Yes, Robert Edge. Thank you so much, Robert. So we know where we stand. 19 would be a county championship record.
Van der Gooten comes in, bowls. Good delivery, nips back, but it's well covered by the batsman. That's the end of the over. We have had 4 overs, and in that chase for 154, Somerset quite happy with the position. 19 for 1. Thomason is on 13. Van Ziel yet to score. The man out, Haynes, caught Balbirnie at first slip of Hogan for 6, and it will be Michael Hogan.
Ah, here we are. So talking about 10 wickets in a match, and this is what John was referring to. Ian Thompson and the ball with which he took 10 for 49 against Warwickshire in 1964.
Right.
He was the first Sussex bowler to take all 10 wickets since G.H. Bland took 10 for 48 against Kent in 1889. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thank you, John. In comes Hogan, comes in and bowls to Van Zale. Lets that one go outside the off stump, taken by a tumbling much. Very kind of you. Thank you, John. In comes Hogan, comes in and bowls to Van.
Gets him off the mark and brings Thomason up to receive.
Yeah, required run rate of only 2.9 runs and over.
No consequence, I would have thought. Three slips and 6 men on the offside. Thompson waits as Hogan comes charging up and bowls. Appeal for LBW, not out.
Oh, come on, we want the record.
Come on, Alex, we're not out.
Oh, come on, we want the record.
Come on, Alex Wolf, we want the record.
We've record. There was a Glamorgan, very vague Glamorgan.
There was visions there on overthrows. 4 of them, but it was stopped just in time.
So, in comes Van der Hoogten and bowls to Thomason, who defends out on the offside, and there is no run. Sussex with 5 left-handers in their top 7. Mind you, they'll be hoping that we won't see all of them. Dramatic swing in the fortunes of this game in the last hour, with Robinson running through the Glamorgan tail in double quick time. Douthwaite from mid-on, but to no avail, and Sussex move on to 25 for 1, chasing just 154 to win. Thomason moving on to 16 not out. Update for BBC Radio Wales listeners to come. Van der Hoogten is in, is driven to mid-off, and there's no run. And the game has slewed dramatically in Sussex's favour. They're 25 for 1, chasing just 154 to win. It looked as though Glamorgan might be able to bat out for a draw, but Ollie Robinson, the Sussex seamer, ripped through the Glamorgan tail, taking 9 for 78, including last man out Callum Taylor for 84. Glamorgan set Sussex 154 to win in 51 overs. Michael Hogan claimed an early wicket, but they're currently 25 for 1. Of this match, I think I'd be knocking on the chief executive or the director of cricket's door and saying,
can we talk now?
Should we talk about next year? Here is Hogan in to bowl to Van Zeel, and the Sapphire Sunshine allowed to go through to Chris Cook, and there is no run.
Suffice to say that if he wasn't offered anything, there'd be 1 or 2 counties knocking at Mr. Hogan's door. You know, there are people like this who, well, look at Darren Stevens for a start. I know he doesn't put as much into his bowling, but he does bat middle order as well. And he is just a mere 45. 46 shortly. Hogan from the far end and coming in and bowls to the left-handed Van Zeel, and appeal for LBW. That's very big shout. For once, it's not out.
Oh, don't you want the record? Equal in LBWs in the county championship game, but thankfully for Van Zeel, much to his relief.
Later on, Nick, with Matthew Maynard as to availability for the game at Northampton, which starts next Thursday.
Yeah, not sure how much he'll want to divulge at this early stage in proceedings.
Will we hear? There will be changes, and we will wait with interest.
As Van der Hoogten is in to Thomason, who drives to mid-on. Sorry, we've got in a little bit of a muddle with the bulletin update as well.
I think the gentleman reading the bulletin put you in a bit of a muddle. But
less said, the better.
Yeah, you got it right. Spot on as usual.
29 for 1, chasing 154.
Yeah, it's fine. Comes in past umpire now, and that's driven nicely, but straight to mid-off where it's fielded by Wheel. And that's the end of a maiden over. And where is Tim van der Gooten going? He's going to meet the physio, is he?
No, it's just getting his cap back at the end of the over.
This is Michael Hogan. Will come up from his familiar position down at fine leg and will resume.
So very much a Sussex cruise, it seems, at the moment, despite the early loss of Haynes. Caught at slip by Balbirnie off the bowling of Hogan for 6. Van Zyl is on 6. Thomason. Well, they're putting everything into it,
yes,
but unless we see a Robinson-style collapse in the Sussex innings as well.
But they don't need to take any chances.
Absolutely. Plenty of time for Sussex, as that one from Hogan is allowed to go through outside off stump by Van Zyl. Through it goes to Cook. Results elsewhere. No further results to add to the ones we've given you. Essex beating Durham by 44 runs. Hampshire thrashing Middlesex by 249 runs. Gloucestershire winning the derby against Somerset by 8 wickets. Kent are 6 down at Canterbury, 158 for 6.
We will nurture him, we'll have him up here for practice. He'll be in that squad, because if he isn't, I for one will be very, very surprised and disappointed for the lad himself. But you never know, do you, how the minds of the selectors work. Suffice to say, they might well be a selector down at Hove next week when they face Yorkshire in their first home game of the season. Right, it is Van der Gooten to continue. The left-handed Van Zyl on strike now. As in comes Van der Gooten bowls, and he has to adjust at the last moment, but plays defensively back to the bowler. Van der Gooten looks all right at the moment, doesn't he? He's bowling at his full speed.
Yeah, I don't think you can particularly read anything into the fact that Wheel came in above him. Debuts a forget, sadly, for the Glamorgan new boy.
Yeah. Van der Gooten is round the wicket, bowls, and Van Zyl is forward to a very good length ball, pushes it.
Innings. Hogan bowls, Thomason stretches forward, dead bats it out on the offside, the ball just rolling very gently to Carlson at cover.
You get the impression, Nick, that if you play for another week on this pitch, it would just play as placid as it's played throughout this game. You say placid, and I say placid, and yet you've got all these LBWs, so I think we'll put it down to the skill of the bowlers, especially Ollie Robinson, and to a lesser degree, Michael Hogan.
32 for 1 here in the Cardiff sunshine. Hogan into bowl, that's here in the Cardiff.
Bowling from this end of the field, he'll be bowling at Thomason, and a much slimmed down version, Nick, of wide, and a bit of a misfield by Wheel. And they get through for a single, and the score moves on now to 34 for 1. What have they been doing there, Nick?
There's some renovation work in the grandstand, I understand. So,
where we work normally?
Yes, where the normal commentary box is. Had difficulty in picking that one up initially, and I don't quite understand this.
We saw that
because we've seen this on several occasions.
Sussex fielders, yeah.
Where fielders on the pavilion side of the ground away to our left have found difficulty in picking up deliveries that hit towards them. Now the grandstand is its usual self. It's not usually open for county championship matches anyway, so I'm not sure how that's any different, but players have had difficulty in picking up the trajectory of the ball in the outfield. Anyway, it is a a change in bowling at the River Taff end as well, because Dan Douthwaite is into the attack. So the Hogan spell is over. He bowled 6 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 12 to keep up his record of going for 2 runs and over in the course of the game. And he'll be bowling to the left-handed Steyn van Zyl, who made that really classy century in the first innings as Sussex first innings as Sussex actually 6th out, so a really important innings from him.
Robinson, spot on, didn't you? 9 for 78. There was a good bowling performance by Robin Marlow, the off-spinner for Sussex at Swansea in 52, 8 for 51.
As Douthwaite bowls, Van Zyl leaves.
So that was the best.
In Wales, was it, for Sussex?
What was it against? Against Glamorgan.
Yeah.
In Wales we've
in
got.
Wales,
but
yes.
So
boundary, which is the last thing a fast bowler wants to do at this stage of the game. But it's 2 runs to Thomason, 42 for 1, 112 more needed for victory by Sussex.
going about it perfectly. The batsmen not taking any chances. Loose ball, they try and get 4 runs from, but really absolutely no point in any sort of panic. David Lloyd to continue his second over. He's bowling to Van Zyl, the left-hander, as he comes in and bowls him. Oh, caught at the wicket. Yes, it is. Poor looking shot there from Van Zyl as David Lloyd got one just to move away, and it really was a flay outside the off stump, went through to Cook, and I was about to get into LBW mode then.
Yes, a rare wicket that isn't LBW.
Yeah.
No, we had a Haynes out caught at slip, didn't we? And then Van Zyl just now caught at the wicket. We had that run of LBWs with 7 in the Glamorgan second innings, 6 of which went to Ollie Robinson. The other was claimed by Crocombe, but Robinson did vary things slightly. He had a catch in the slips, a catch behind, and a catch in the deep to finish things off. So
have Glamorgan. Tom Clark then just faced 1 ball. Thomason 22. What did Van Zyl contribute to the
12 off 30?
There's Lloyd, comes in, bowls to Clark. Clark leaves outside the off stump. Shouts of well bowled Lloydie. Well bowled, keep it going.
He's a pleasant chap, and be good to see him succeed before Labuschagne gets here next month.
Coming to complete the over is Lloyd, and bowls to Clark down the leg side. There's no run. I think Mr. Selman could also produce a few runs. He's short.
He is indeed. Edward Cooper asks, hopefully, any sign of snow.
Thankfully not.
High cloud. We've had our snow last week.
Oh, it's a beautiful afternoon.
In Headingley, yeah, high cloud, mostly blue sky, just a few wisps, thin wisps of cloud as we approach the last over before the tea interval, one assumes, unless more regulations have been changed. It's the last over according to the scorecard anyway, as Douthwaite and for Harry Friend for Monmouth. It's also in the Glamorgan Academy as that's defended by Clark on the offside, and there is no run.
Every time I speak to Steve James, former Glamorgan captain of course and batsman, he's always telling me about Harry Friend ever since he started coaching him there. So will we see him possibly turn out for Glamorgan if he's as good as Steve says? Remember that Tony Lewis made his debut at the age of 17.
With commentary on the final session of this game, with Sussex needing another 107 runs to win, Glamorgan another 8 wickets to win, as they head for the tea interval. I'll speak to you in about 20 minutes. But Glamorgan will need something of a bowling miracle if they're to pull off anything here and put Sussex under real pressure. So right-handed opener Aaron Thomason on strike, and he's bowling to David Lloyd to Thomason, who's defending that one back up the pitch, and there is no run. Be hearing from Adrian Harms from BBC Radio Sussex very shortly. No run rate pressure on Sussex at all. Sussex are 47 for 2 in their second innings, requiring a further 107 runs for victory. It should be relatively easy for the away side on a placid wicket. Glamorgan earlier lost their last 4 wickets for 3. Ollie Robinson finished off with 9 for 78, a county record against Glamorgan, and Glamorgan all out for 349. Sussex, needing 154 to win, are now 47 for 2. David Lloyd is in to bowl, and those would be the 2 slips. And Selman looks quite dejected about life.
He does. I think it flew between the pair. I must admit, I lost trajectory, which is where the pair of them dived.
It's certainly pretty high, but it's 4 runs to Thomason to get Sussex going after the tea interval, and as he's forward defensively. 50 up for Sussex with that edge. 51 for 2. 103 more to win here on BBC Sport Online. And, well, I think from the stats point of view, we must be hoping for an LBW to break the county championship record.
Yeah, wouldn't it be
Sussex fans, I'm sure, would disagree.
Well, I was just thinking, Sussex really ought to, on a very flat pitch, they're almost over the line here, but you never know. And a couple of wickets go down here after tea, a few jitters in the dressing room.
As the next delivery is down leg side, and Thomason doesn't get any contact on it. Chris Cook makes a diving stop. 4 off the edge in that over then from Lloyd. He has 1 for 10 off his 3 overs. Will we see another Hogan burst? Will we see a
thrill?
Thank you for those thoughts, Graham. On this monitor that we've got. I suppose I'll have to check whether Carlson will miss any matches due to his exams. He has done so in the past, and it's sort of interrupted his momentum if he's scored some runs early season. Once or twice maybe. Lloyd is in, bowled twice maybe. Lloyd is in, bowls. That one keeps a little bit. There's no run. There's certainly some lovely shots which you'll hold out there rather than go for a win. Milne's 75 not out. Darren Stevens has been in for an hour. He's on 29 not out. 3 for Jordan Thompson, who didn't face Glamorgan. He was injured, so maybe facing you boys next week.
Yes.
At Hove, Lloyd to bowl from this Cathedral Road end. In to bowl to Thomason. It's Lloyd to bowl from this Cathedral Road.
Some good games around the country, though, Nick. I mean, nothing finished in 3 days, which is terrific in April. In comes Hogan over the wicket, bowls to Thomason, who clips this nicely through mid-wicket, picks up a single, does Aaron Thomason. He goes to 33, and Sussex to 61 for 2.
And Leicestershire might, it seems, salvage a draw against Surrey. They're 203 for 3 in their second innings. Still 94 behind after Surrey's mammoth effort, but this
match you'd have thought, but Glamorgan, a couple of wickets here could just send a few tremors through the away team dressing room.
Lloyd will need to bowl a bit straighter than a couple of deliveries in the last over. Problems on Brighton Beach apparently has been evacuated with a device being investigated. As Lloyd bowls and
59, sorry.
Yes, having entirely coincidentally, people at the PCA have tweeted that big MVP points coming Ollie Robinson's way. Lloyd bowls, short ball, pulled, square leg again, having difficulty in picking it up, but
No,
I think he's given that as a 4.
Yeah.
As Callum Taylor just picked it up a fraction too late. Again, as we've said throughout the match, people are finding it difficult to sight the ball against getting those wickets in time, really, to prevent any worries for their batsmen in these closing stages of the game.
Yes, they're pacing their chase perfectly well. Not that they really need to pace because they've got so many overs left. And the run rate required is just 2.8.
So it's gone down. Hogan into bowl, driven nicely by Clark through the offside. Taylor is off in pursuit. Will he keep this one in? Yes, he flicks it back just inside the boundary, but they're in fact able to come back for a pretty comfortable 3 runs.
Getting up to the halfway mark, they're 70 for 2. Thomason, another good innings from him, 35. Another good innings from him, 35. Not out. And bowls again to Thomason, and this time he plays it off his legs for a single out to mid-wicket. That is the end of another over, 75 for 2. After 21 overs, Thomason's on to 40, and Clark is on 15.
Northants now a 7 down at Old Trafford. Van der Hoogten bowls, forward comes Thomason. The volume levels from the Glamorgan infield are still there, but it's
a lost
all
cause.
entirely artificial, isn't it? Oh, the ball would have hit the stumps if it hadn't hit the middle of the bat first.
Talking about what end each bowler, something which we ask, as you know, Nick, when we get to grounds, but perhaps we haven't been at many times, and the first thing we ask, of course, first thing you need if you're working for the media is, of course, the scoreboard. But we arrived there, unfortunately, and the scoreboard was away to our right, in front of us, and we couldn't see a thing. So we spoke to them up there, but apparently next time they play there, they will try and work something.
Yeah, Newport being used for second 11 games this season by Glamorgan.
Yeah. Short leg and a slip then. As Thompson waits, and this is pushed forward by him. Taylor had a long bowl in the first innings, 29 overs, I think he bowled. Yeah, it's 1 for 97. As he bowls again, and this is clipped around the corner, short fine leg. They thought and decided not to.
Yeah, looking a little tentative. A couple of those opening deliveries from Taylor.
I think I would be tempted. Just wait for Taylor. Doesn't take long to bowl an over. Bowlers again clipped away. This is out to deep mid wicket, and they'll take a leisurely single, and it's 81 for the loss of
46 not out in the opening game as well, so is in reasonable nick as Van der Hoogten is in, and that's driven down off a thickish edge down towards backwards square leg. Thomason goes through for the leg side, no run.
Anyway, the other umpire got there now, ready for the play the next day, and there to greet him the following morning was dear old Ray. And his first question to the umpire that had just arrived at the Parks was, how many victims so far in 2 games? To which the chap said, 4 or 5. I got 12 already. That's an absolutely true story.
Don't get paid extra for that, do you?
They might finish a bit earlier.
Well, yes, you might get a bit of extra time off, but everything's under scrutiny these days as Van der Hoogten is in, and that's played away nicely on the leg side by Clark, who looks in no difficulty at all at the moment, 83 for 2. And of course, umpires get reviewed by the captains, and everything's on video these days, and match managers and so on. I haven't seen the match referee actually, Phil Whittaker.
He's over in the far side there.
Right. So they're usually up in our media area, aren't they? There's one box marked for the match ref's use, isn't there?
Yes, on the far. I'll give you another little tale after this about umpires. As Van der Hoogten just weirdly walks back to his mark. It's a fair...
As here comes Taylor in to bowl, defended on the leg side, and there's no run for Aaron Thomason. 83 for 2, 84 for 2, 71,
Yes,
70 to win. Taylor is in and steps back, does Thomason, and cuts nicely. We'll get runs here down to third man. It may be 4 of them. It may be cut off just inside the ropes. It is, but they'll be able to come back easily for a third run after chase by Douthwaite, who had to run round quite a long way from point. Nice little dab of a shot from Thomason as he moves on to 49 and Sussex to 87 for 2.
Tuesday. And where do you think they had to go on a Tuesday night from Hull? 11:30 start the next morning. It was Ebbw Vale. And again, early hours used to get there. Van der Gooten bowls, and this is played up to mid-on by Thomason. Looks in prime form, 87 for 2. So I think they must have been rather weary. They, you know, no motorways. Some of them had little cars which could put 2 or 3 people. Not the luxuries of air-conditioned coaches, of course. It was quite hard.
Radar, but we'll perhaps talk about it a little bit at the end of the over.
Did he come from Warwickshire?
He did.
Didn't he bowl little medium pace there?
Yeah.
Next ball is driven out into the covers. That's a lovely shot. And we'll probably get a couple of runs, which will bring up his 50. So it's second 50 of the match for Aaron Thomason. And this is his second season with Sussex?
It's actually his 3rd season. So he came to Sussex and made his debut in a match against Worcestershire, which was played at Kidderminster because the ground at New Road was flooded. And he came and he made 90 on his debut, batting at number 8 or 9. He was well down the order. But thereafter really didn't play very much to the rest of that season. And then, of course, in last year's curtailed season, I'll just break off.
There's Van der Gooten bowls. Stifled appeal there for LBW. We still await the next LBW decision, but that is the end of the over. Let me remind you of the target, 154, 89 for 2 now, and Sussex going on very well. Very well. Where they will gain.
And we'll be back with you as soon as possible.
Probably heard that from Nick.
Afternoon and welcome back to Glamorgan website listeners. Apologies for some technical issues. We've had to separate the BBC commentary and the Glamorgan website commentary, but Edward Bevan and myself will try and keep you going as best we can. So, Sussex nearing victory. 96 for 2. 154 is the target as Van der Hoogten bowls, and that's played out on the offside and there's no run.
Taking the score from 42 up to 9. Observe it because they've taken this. Looking back at the 4 days, it's the old story. Nick, not enough runs for Glamorgan in the first innings, would you agree? Should have got 400.
Yeah, and 280 odds I thought might be just about competitive, but in the end it wasn't.
In comes Douthwaite, bowls again. Thompson leaves outside the off stump, goes through to Cook. And as for Glamorgan listeners, you start thinking what will be the combination of the side for Northants. It doesn't appear that Wheel will play, because if he was going to play, he would have had a nice bowl tonight, you would have thought. So they'll be thinking now, and whether they have any injuries, of course, but yeah.
56 needed to win.
56 needed, it is, yes, of course.
Yep. So yes, it's been an interesting struggle over most of the 4 days, but for most of that period, apart from, I suppose, the latter part of last night and this first session today, Sussex have won far more sessions than Glamorgan have. Van der Hoogten will be in to bowl to Clark, who's forward playing it out on the offside, and there's no run. I think I'm going to have to update BBC Radio Wales.
Here's Van der Hoogten. Comes in, bowls again. Clobbered away in the offside, straight to Taylor, who is fielding at extra cover, and there's no run. Lines. Douthwaite then to continue from that far end. Comes in, bowls to the left-handed Clark, who guides that away down to third man, where Wheel waits and will return. .108 for 2. Just to remind you that it'll be Yorkshire against next Thursday against Sussex down at Hove, and Glamorgan travel to Northampton for their game against Northamptonshire. Dan Douthwaite over the wicket, comes in, bowls again, short, pulled away up towards deep mid-wicket, all along the ground, and another single, which takes the score to 108. 46 runs needed for victory now by Sussex in this evening sunshine. The game going well into the last session, and just demonstrates what a good game of 4-day cricket that this has been. And I think it would be fair to say the difference between these two sides has been Ollie Robinson. Magnificent all-round effort. 9 wickets for 78 runs today to go with his 4. That's 13 in the match, and then an innings of 67 when Sussex batted, just to stabilise them when they'd lost a couple of quick wickets. Around the wicket comes the next ball short outside the off stump. So he has been outstanding. And if there was a man of the match, I don't think anybody would wait for more than half a second to say he would be the man of the match. Weather forecast, I'm told, is good for yet another week, if not more. So there'll be some runs scored around the country, hard grounds as Douthwaite bowls, and this is played backward of scare on the offside. Wheel will field and returns very quickly, and they go through for a single. That's the end of another over, and this target is getting lower and lower as visitors move on to 110 for 2 and 44 runs needed for victory. As the Glamorgan 12th man comes on and hands Douthwaite his Glamorgan cap. Certainly don't need anything else to be brought on, such as can get a bowl. Other than that, he might just be hinting to Cook that he'd like to bowl. We shall see. Here is Taylor coming to the end of the over. That's a good take. That landed in the footholds of the whoever quick bowler is bowling over the wicket from the river end, and it went very wide, and a good take by Chris Cook. And in the first innings he was out for 67 before he was caught by Michael Hogan. Very fine catch low down. So it'll be James Wheel to bowl from that far end, the river end. And here he comes for his first ball of the second innings. Bowls to Thompson now. Short, cut away on the offside, straight to cover, no run. Really is a big pitch, a good pitch this. But didn't stop Ollie Robinson having a match haul of 13 wickets. Here comes Wheel, fairly long run, comes in, very sprightly in the field as Michael Hogan. One ball of the over left for Wheel. 5 runs so far coming off it. Adjustment in the field, and the two batsmen converse as if Park is not out. 34, and within about half an hour, perhaps less, the game will be over. Nick, how are the technical problems going? Nick, back from the other studio with us now.
Yes, well, we are broadcasting on all our proper outlets, but just with...
yeah, I've just explained who's who.
2001. Taylor is in and bowls, and played on the offside by Tom Clark. And there's no run, so I shall hover back and fall between the two, so neither of you gets too tired. Adrian Harms is manning the BBC fort in the other studio, as Taylor bowls. Fort in the other studio, as Taylor bowls.
He has played some lovely
from
shots.
Tom Clark, racing away through the covers. Thought it a run. My attention is drawn to the fact that Graham Wagg hit a half-century on his Shropshire debut. He's leading them in a friendly for the national county there. So Wagg hitting a 50. Hasn't bowled as yet.
And he is missed by Glamorgan, I have to say, much missed. Fine all-round cricketer who left the club at the end of last season. Poster man there for Matthew Hayden. I wouldn't have liked to have been on it if somebody bowled a leg stump half volley at Hayden. He just hit the bar, hit the ball as hard as anybody. Oh, this is nearly a chance for first slip, but it goes off the edge of the bat for 4. And Lloyd. Is it Lloyd at first slip? He's lying down there, so he's been knocked out by a rifle.
Yeah, well, Glamorgan must be feeling quite dispirited by now after having high hopes of saving the game for most of the day.
Yeah, an inside edge, and the other edged down past slip. And that is the end of another over. 125 for 2, and the target of 154 comes ever so near.
Do you realise, Edward, I haven't even finished my tea time coffee yet?
Well, please
That
do,
hectic.
and I shall natter on.
Oh dear.
Put some boiling water on it.
No, it's all right. I don't mind cold coffee, actually. My wife says, you can't drink that. Yes, I can. Still.
My wife is exactly the same. Oh, I cannot touch it.
Still tastes the same. So,
Colder.
Glamorgan at
125.
Northampton on Thursday, and Sussex at home to Yorkshire at last for them back at Hove. Taylor's in and bowls, and that's defended on the leg side. No run by the opening bat. Thomason, 62 not out, to add to his first innings 67. Bowls again does Taylor, and it's worked away on the leg side by Thomason, just past a diving short leg, and they've gone through for a comfortable single. 130 for 2, 24 to win.
Yeah.
And these Sussex batsmen enjoying themselves in the closing stages. Clark is 51, Thomason is 63, and Sussex are 134 for 2, needing a further 20 runs for victory.
Yes, as I say, the only sort of little criticism you might have is say that into the final 25 overs of the match, that the ball hasn't given any assistance to the spinners, which you would do expect, especially there's been plenty of sun on it during the match. And you see this pitch is playing as it's played right through. The difference, as I mentioned about 15 minutes ago, has been the superb seam bowling of Ollie Robinson. As we watched James Wheel start another over the wicket to Thomason and bowls to him, and he's hit that hard but straight to cover, and it's 134. The loss of just 2 wickets, and that means 130 to
134.
154.
134.
No, it's not quite gone up on our monitor. As Wheel comes in and bowls to him, waits for that to come on and chips it away out to the cover region, where it's fielded there by Taylor. One floodlight shadow creeps over behind us onto the ground, just between where Clark is batting and the wicket keeper. Wheel into the shot, plays it out into the covers. It's good length bowling, from in fairness, from Wheel at the moment. Forward comes the batsman Clark, playing very, not thinking of finishing in a flurry of boundaries. And it would look very nice to have the red ring. Thomason to 8. In he comes and bowls. It's a better ball, driven up to mid-off, mid-on and no run.
Further advance for you, Edward. 144 was that last boundary.
Well, it's still showing 140.
Thomason 69, Clark 53. 10 to win.
149. 5 runs needed. A man on the drive each side here. Don't think it's going to make much difference as Wheel comes in from that far end and bowls again, and this is pushed away again on the offside. They think of a run, decide not to take it. What is it, Tom? We're getting messages here. It's 149. Yep, I'm spot on then. So for 3.5 days things have been going well as regards television, as regards the radio and the update. Then, oh, and he beat him on the outside, the arm ball, nearly bowled him. I don't normally see just pushing along when you need 4 runs to win, but 5 runs rather. And he's determined to have a not out, and you don't blame him. Having said that, he's down the pitch, clears everything up towards the boundary, and that has gone for 4 runs over the top. And now's the single needed, so it will, in most probability, end in this over. And Thomason moves on to 79, and it's 1 run 153, yes, 153. Last ball of the 40th, and an excellent performance, as I say, by them. And it ends up with Thomason unbeaten on 78, and his partner Tom Clark unbeaten on 54. A deserved victory, I'm sure everybody will agree with that, and congratulations to Sussex on that fine victory. There was 10 overs to spare, and they won by the handsome margin of 8 wickets. So that's it then from Sophia Gardens. It's been a very enjoyable 4 days, and thoroughly enjoyed working with Adrian Arms from Sussex, and Nick Wedd, my colleague at BBC Radio Wales. Let's hope for better stuff from Glamorgan when they travel to Northampton for a 4-day match, which starts as usual this evening on the Thursday. And we'll be back here at Sophia Gardens for the next home match, which will be against Kent. So just to remind you, Sussex have won this 4-day match in the Championship by 8 wickets. And from me, Edward Bevan, a very good night to you all.